one again. Because that was short. Even though I could have just put that with that, but I didn't want to, so there we go.
Meow. Oh, it's you. 1 second. Now, you made me jump there. I thought they'd finally caught me. Well, my heart rate did. Jumped up a little, I mean. Objectively speaking, the trouble was entirely of my own making. Half an hour ago, I was at Hotel de Boer for a drinks reception. It was to celebrate the successful opening of a show, but it was draining my energy. So, I waited for the right moment, then snuck away so I could switch to standby mode. Probably because I'm playing the lead role in the show? Is that so surprising?
No.
I'm always getting invitations to do solo performances. I just usually get Lenny to write back and turn them down. But then came the Fontanalia Film Festival. We took all the kids from the House of the Hearth out to see a film, and after it finished, they all started clamoring for me to try out acting for some reason. Even Lenny was chanting along with them. Anyway, it just so happened that a director called Mary had sent me an invitation right around then. I'll spare you the details, but basically, I ended up accepting it. Yep, you nailed it. I'm playing the role of a puppet. In fact, the show's called The Lost Puppet, and it's a masked mime show. So, I don't have to do any facial expressions or say any lines. Literally just a series of physical movements. The director says it's a very avant-garde art form. Art is not comprehended by the mind, but felt in the heart. At least, that's what the director says. Anyway, if nothing else, the opening performance seemed to go down well. At the drinks reception, everyone was crowding around me, saying, "Triumphant character portrayal, faithful adaptation of the original work, unequivocally, quintessentially avant-garde," and stuff like that. But being the center of attention is draining. So the moment they left me to go harass the director instead, I was out of there. The other thing is, some weird things happened while I was on the stage. Oh, sorry, Bonnie. I didn't mean to leave you out of the conversation. My bad. No, we just met. We bumped into each other right after I slipped away. Well, it'd be kind of difficult for us to communicate otherwise. Besides, I think she's taken a liking to the name. Haven't you, Bonnie? Yeah, that's right. Good kitty. We'll go find your owner soon, I promise. Nope. She's wearing a collar, and for the most part, she's pretty well groomed. If she is a stray, she hasn't been for long. Her stomach's been growling a lot. I guess she must have been missing for a few days now. As much as I'd love to hang out with her for a while longer, her owner's probably worried sick about her. Assuming she has an owner, that is. But the reception... I should probably show my face there again at some point, even if it's just to make excuses and leave again. Well, I just find it exhausting, thinking through all the different ramifications of different choices and so on. That's more Lenny's area than mine. It's fine. He got Fermine to make me a little something for just this situation. Poof! A phaetometer. It looks pretty over the top, I know, but it's essentially just a box of cards. He kept the design simple, so it'd be harder to break. The way it works is, I pick a card at random, then look at the number on the card. Well, for example, if the number on the card is 5 or higher, I help Bonnie find her owner. If it's less than 5, I go back to the reception. I just have to believe in the bond between me and my cards, and my fate will reveal itself to me in numerical form. Huh, I didn't like that. Was I using it wrong? Clearly, there's some design flaws to iron out. I'll have to let Fremine know. Let's see, which card did I get? 4. Well, the cards fell on the ground though, so if you want to get the right answer, you have to let fate decide. Also something Lenny said. So, to put it another way, if picking a card up off the ground is how to not leave it to fate, or why don't you pick a card? Since I ran into you here, that means, our fates are, like, interfering with each other. Thank you. This one is final, I promise. Here, take the phaetometer. If it's 5 or above, that means fate success. Also, if you have your own thoughts about what I should do, feel free to share it. So, we're looking for Bonnie's owner? I think I'll go to the Steambird and see about putting an ad in the paper.
Every stupendous day starts with a Steambird. Oh, hi,
Yep.
Why, of course.
Well, we've registered you as missing. Also, I just wanted to say thanks for keeping us company for so long. Well, I should probably head back to the drinks reception. If you've got some time, you should stop by my place. Alright, see you then.
I can never get that at all. It's rare, if anything.
Those memories. So dark. Useless.
I believe this cat belongs to me.
I already told you, this isn't your cat.
Just take a breather, you two. Oh, you're here. As you can probably see, you'll have to take a rain check on that tea I promised you.
This is my friend's cat. He's preoccupied with some important business, so I came to retrieve her in his stead.
No, it's far more likely this cat escaped from the Humane Society. Bonnie?
That's the name I've given her in the meantime. Well, this complicates things.
I told you before. This is my friend's cat. It's normal for her not to trust me.
Listen, I'm the director of the Humane Society, okay? She just looked somewhat familiar, so I came to check, just in case. If she turns out to be one of ours, I'll take her back. Simple as that. Even if that's not the case, the Humane Society could still take her in, if no one else comes to claim her, that is. We're an organization that specializes in rescuing and sheltering stray animals. We've been in business for several decades now. I'm Bernard, the current director.
The Humane Society. Huh. The name...
Yes, that's the one. Anyway, if it's not too much trouble, could I possibly take a closer look at the cat? If it turns out I really am mistaken, I suppose that means the cat belongs to this lady here.
It belongs to my friend.
Go on, Bonnie.
Oh, nope. Looks like I was mistaken. They do look similar, but there's an ever so slight difference in this one's fur color. Deepest apologies, friends. Well, I suppose this means I still have a missing cat to search for. Apologies again for the confusion.
Yes, exactly.
Wait a second. You lied earlier, didn't you?
Lied? I'm afraid I don't...
A liar always has a tell. The look in their eyes, their breathing pattern, the way they hold themselves. The things that can give you away are...
What are you talking about? The way I see it...
Normally, when someone is called out, their breathing speeds up as they begin to panic. But your breathing pattern hasn't changed one bit. If you're a bad guy, I'm sure you'll take off running the first chance you get. If you're a good guy, the most...
And you're basing this off of...
Intuition. Nothing more.
Intuition. You're right. I'm a member of the Guards. The name's Elodie. I'm currently investigating a cross-border smuggling case. This cat here... Bonnie was her name? Well, her owner is one of the prime suspects of our investigation. A couple of days ago, our suspect got wind that we were on his tail and fled. That's most likely how he got separated from the... I just so happened to stumble upon your notice in the Steambird. So, I decided to see if he'd come back for her. But... it looks like I overestimated him. The impact of this case has been huge. A new kind of illegal drug. Imitation synth. We confiscated all the synth on the market, but addiction isn't something that goes away overnight, and criminals are all too eager to capitalize on that addiction. That after the original synth debacle, we put several measures into place to prevent similar incidents from occurring. The perpetrators got smart, though, and shifted their sales overseas before those measures could kick in. We only recently got word of the presence of imitation synth overseas. We managed to track down the Marechaussee Phantom launched. He's a researcher at the Fontaine Research Institute.
Le fait vert.
The Marechaussee Phantom found him in Poisson. In addition to the cat, he also had a pendant with him. At first, there wasn't much cause for suspicion. A search of his house didn't reveal. It was only later that we realized the coat of arms on his pendant belonged to none other than the Lefebvre. Obviously, this discovery prompted a further investigation into Pierre.
That's not possible, actually. The Lefebvre family has been gone for a long time.
Exactly. Many years ago, several important members of the family, including the patriarch, were murdered by an assassin of unknown origin. The family is engaged in all manner of crimes. As you can imagine, there's no shortage of people waiting in the wings to take their revenge. And with the family severely weakened, they were able to do just that. Pierre is one of those very survivors. He's been hiding away in the Fontaine Research Institute all these years. Well, my fellow guards have told me all about how smart and courageous you both are. And I know you possess a strong sense of justice. There could be a chance that Pierre, or one of his accomplices, might attempt to get close to Bonnie. If I take Bonnie back to the guards with me, there's no way Pierre will try and come for her. I have to admit, I'm not holding out too much hope that Pierre will come back for her. But if there's even the slightest, well, I've got some other leads to follow up on. If Pierre does appear, please contact me right.
It's nothing. I'm fine. It's just... the head of the Lefebvre family. He was the eminent person who kidnapped me all those years ago. It was at a dinner party. Someone tricked me into boarding the Lefebvre family carriage. Whoever it was, they took me back to their home. But before anything worse could happen, Father intervened. Yep. Father was the one who orchestrated the fall of the Lefebvre family. That's what led Lenny and I to join the House of the Hearth. After all these years. I never thought I'd hear the Lefebvre name again. Don't worry about me. I wasn't feeling sorry for myself. He's been acting strange recently. He avoids me for days on end, consumes himself with some secret investigation. But thinking about it now, it's very possible. I'm sure he tried to send me away because he was afraid it would bring up some painful memories for me. Even after all these years, he's still as overprotective as ever. You'll have to help me teach him a lesson if we run into him along... Yep. I want to head to the Fontaine Research Institute to learn more information about Pierre. Just let me activate search mode and then we'll head out. Who knows? Maybe we'll run into Lenny along the way. A little bit of both, perhaps. For the most part, though, I just have the sense that something's not right. Okay, I'll write a letter explaining everything to the crew.
Not that.
Lynette, you're, not at rehearsal?
You can drop the act, brother. In fact, I don't think either of us will have a need for acting anytime soon.
And that's why I tried to distract you with the masked mime show. But I guess you're just too good.
Care to introduce us to your new assistant?
This is Officer...
Nice to see you. I should clarify something. Mr. Linney's here at my invitation, not the other way around. We've brought on Mr. Linney as a consultant in the past. He was instrumental in helping us crack a case involving a perpetrator who used magic tricks.
So you've heard everything then?
That's exactly why we're here. There's always been questions surrounding the fall of the Lefebvre family. Whoever was behind it all was extremely cautious. They didn't leave a shred of evidence. This very fact, however, leads me to believe it was indeed the work of that harbinger. I took a look at the entrance and exit records of all the carriages that night. Let's just say it wasn't hard to deduce that there's ill will between you two. Don't worry, I don't have any evidence to that effect, and I sought Mr. Linney's help with the smuggling case. Nothing more. The way I look at it, it's a collaboration between... Not at all. I was planning to invite you from the very beginning, Miss Lynette. It's just that my assistant here raised some objections.
Linny, I'm not the same person I was back then. That little girl who did nothing but cower in the corner in fear. She doesn't need saving anymore.
I'm sorry, Lynette. You're right. I let my concerns get the better of me.
Oh, and the next time you want to distract me, you should try a different approach.
Who's this? You pick up a stray while I was gone?
It's a bit complicated. I'll explain later. Anyway, her name's Bonnie.
Well, if there are no objections, then I suppose the only thing left to say is... Lynette, Traveler, welcome to the team.
It appears the Lefebvre family was very particular in their use of insignias and emblems. The family would use different emblems to mark differences in status, blood relation, and the like. In fact, the insignia that
It's highly likely. That very status might have been what allowed him to emerge from the fall of his family relative...
We discovered something interesting.
Apparently, Pierre was once addicted to synth. He tried to use the... He claimed it was just for... But it seems the Institute ran into some trouble along the way. Could have been a lack of personnel or a timing issue. As for his family background, it appeared... Other than the pendant, we didn't find anything else of note at his residence, and based on the samples of imitation synth we've been able to analyze, it appears the substance leaves behind strong traces wherever it's produced or stored. Those traces might not be obvious to the casual observer. We didn't find any records indicating possible involvement in overseas transactions either. So, the Marechaussee Phantom didn't view him as a major suspect at first.
Well, his neighbors did... If his reclusive nature...
After he disappeared, the guard...
Poisson. You know Hotel de Boer, where I first found Bonnie? To get there from Poisson, you have to cross a stretch of ocean.
A cat?
Bonnie is Pierre's cat.
Oh, that's right!
From what we've learned about Pierre's habits, he...
Exactly. Bonnie...
Wait. You think the cat can lead us there? But...
Meow.
Well, I've certainly never...
Well,
Cats and humans are actually, of course...
the important thing is...
So used to having like the map right there, but everything's just been moved over.
Demons do not stop for the rain.
Seems like Bonnie is trying to take us somewhere. Gardemex ahead.
Look out! This is order.
Now you shall perish!
Make way for the Adeptus!
Lament! Worthless! Here! Boring! Here! Order guide you.
Okay.
Wow, Lennette, you found this place so easily. If I thought there was any chance you'd say yes, I'd recruit you into the Special Patrol here and now. Nope.
Sounds familiar. I pretty much receive letters daily from people trying to poach her from me.
Let's just focus on our search.
Aha! Just as we thought. This is where the imitation synth was being made. Looks like he's got more. These cleaning agents are likely used to dispel traces of the substance. The Special Patrol did some digging into imitation synth. Our records indicate that it's very difficult for ordinary people to detect traces left behind by the stuff. I'm sure that was the case for Pierre as well. It must have taken a considerable amount. But what are these other drugs for?
The material these bags are made of, it's the very same, actually. Romaritime flower fiber. But there's something special about the composition of these bags. I took a closer look, and it appears they're not only waterproof, but also corrosion and leak resistant. Even the strings look specially designed to keep the bags closed nice and tight. I came across some bags made of the same material just now, but they were much smaller and thinner. From the look of them, they seem very similar, actually. Normally, it would be easy for a guard poodle to sniff out the imitation synth, but if it was sealed away in a bag like that, it might be possible to elude detection for some time. But what could these big bags be for, then? If the goal is to keep the imitation synth hidden and sealed away, these bags seem a bit too conspicuous.
When the Marechaussee Phantom searched Pierre's house, there was no sign of these bears. You're right. Only the lower halves of the barrels appear to have been submerged in water.
Based on the various ingredients we've found, this appears to be where Pierre was cooking up his imitation synth. It looks like he used a special cleaning.
So then he
No. I don't believe our suspect is the kind of person who'd go around carrying incriminating evidence with him. The cleaning agent and the sealed bags might get past.
The barrels we found were wet around the base, but the top half was dry. If you put a barrel in the water, it will normally float on its side. Unless it's heavily loaded, in which case it'll sink.
Yes. With flotation rings around the body of the barrels, they'd stay upright in the water.
You think he used floating barrels? I suppose if he acted...
But then, wouldn't the barrels be...
Traveler, can you come take a dip in the sea with me? I have a feeling that somewhere down there, we might find some rope. This isn't the place. The wreckage of a small boat? This isn't the place. time to go up and report. As expected, we found a few people. With this anchoring system, it would be possible to use floating barrels for the drop-off. We also came across the wreckage of a small...
Let's talk this through. Based on the evidence we've collected, it seems like Pierre would row a small boat out to the agreed-upon transfer point, drop off the barrels, leave, and then row back and retrieve them after the transfer was complete.
It could be that he was trying to avoid meeting up with his associate face-to-face. As one of the sole survivors of the Lefebvre family, maybe he was just used to that sort of elusive lifestyle.
It seems like Pierre deliberately chose the floating barrel method so that the goods could be dropped off and picked up at separate times.
Well, if that's the case, they must not have a very close work.
Let's not jump to any conclusions. The most important thing is that we can now confirm Pierre wasn't acting alone. Let's say for now that he was only in charge of producing the imitation synth.
Since we've determined that the goods were transported by boat, maybe we can track down some travel logs or something.
We can certainly check the various ports for that information. Absolutely. Before Pierre disappeared, we made sure to investigate all sorts of outward-bound vessels. Unfortunately, we were never able to... You're right. Whatever vessel was used for the pickup, the person responsible for smuggling the substance out of Fontaine would have had to use a larger vessel for the actual transport. They must have found a way to disguise the imitation synth to clear port inspections. Exactly. We can't let any opportunity...
I'll run home and ask some of my brothers and sisters to try and dig up some information.
I should also head back and update my platoon on our progress. I'll grab some...
All right. Come on, Bonnie. You too.
Oh my god. I keep doing that. Oh boy.
The rain stopped. I don't concern myself with the weather.
Oh, Lynette, traveler.
Did something happen?
I'm in charge of guarding the port.
Looks like I've got another hard day of work ahead of me. No, not usually. It's this incident that happened recently. Before that, everything was normal. All we had to do was confiscate anything suspicious and we could call it a day. Pretty simple stuff. But things are much more complicated now. We somehow let suspicious cargo pass through the port undetected. Not even our guard poodles were able to sniff it out. Even worse, we still don't know how the perpetrator was able to conceal the goods so...
By suspicious cargo, do you mean imitation synth?
Yep. However...
So what happens to the goods you confiscate?
Oh, we keep them in a storage locker. If they turn out to be something particularly dubious, we'll turn them over to the Maison Orderly. If the goods are only slightly suspicious but could otherwise be harmless, like raw materials that could potentially be used to create contraband, we return them to the ship they were confiscated from.
Sorry for the wait. These are the travel logs for all...
Oh, you brought Gerard?
Actually, he followed me here himself. It's like he smells something on me. Huh. I wonder why Gerard is reacting to you two so strongly.
Huh? We were so careful not to...
Why don't you have a look at the travel...
The Humane Society. Their name is all over the exit logs.
The director of the organization explained that, actually. He said a lot of the cat and dog breeds unique to Fontaine are also very popular overseas. So, his organization offers an overseas adoption program.
Bernard, the director of the Humane Society, was the man who came looking for Bonnie earlier. Have you figured it out too, Traveler? When Bernard asked to take a closer look at Bonnie, he was actually checking whether there was any imitation synth in her stomach.
Wait, what?
The sealed bags we found at the secret base. They were specially made to be corrosion resistant, and there were gaps around the lids of the barrels, and airbags were used to keep them upright in the water. Those drug shovers found at the secret base, Pierre, must have made the animals swallow the sealed bags full of imitation synth at his secret base.
The sealed bags combined with an animal's body odor would certainly be enough to mask the scent of imitation synth.
During our inspections, we...
Exactly. I bet Bernard even transported animals with synth in their stomach. She's probably in the clear. Otherwise, Bernard would have never left without her. Just imagine. He sees the notice we put in the Steambird, and it turns out that if Pierre had already hidden the next batch of imitation synth, then Bonnie would practically be living proof of their crimes.
So, that's why he came to find...
Wait a second, I'm a little lost here. I get the part about hiding the substance in the pets, but those... what did you call them again? Floating... If you've got something as convenient as a floating barrel, why not just...
In order to make sure the animals could swallow the sealed bags, they made them extremely thin. That step would have required a lot of energy, as well as a certain amount of technical expertise. We've already proven how easy it is to pick up trace amounts of imitation synth, so I'm sure Bernard was taking all the precautions he could.
Okay. Then, let's head to the Humane Society right away and bring that...
Oh my god, sorry.
The headquarters of the Humane Society should be somewhere around here.
Here are the people from...
After him! We can't let him get away! Give it up, Bernard.
Mercy.
The Humane Society has done so much good over the...
Look, I didn't have a choice, okay? My father cared about those blasted animals so much, he did...
No one asked.
Well, after I took over, it said that I could stand to get a large sum of money as long as I helped them to transport some animals abroad. It was... But then, Pierre wrote to me, saying I would order wooden barrels and a few days after that, I'd come by again in my boat and pick up the animals sleeping in the barrels. Once I had received enough of them, I'd bring them to the harbor to be adopted. That guy, Pierre, he was... Look, I don't know, okay?
And when did he send his final letter to you?
Just last night. He said that the Marechaussee Phantom is now after him, so he's planning to go into hiding for some time. He didn't mention where he...
It's been a few days since Pierre's last appearance.
I burned them.
Sure sounds like you're trying to use the lack of witnesses or evidence to pin the blame on Pierre.
No, I swear, this time I'm only telling you the...
Well, we can check the truth of your statements at the Opera House.
I know, I swear.
Bonnie helped, too.
That's true. It was. And it looks like she's grown quite fond of you two as well.
It was that obvious, huh? Well, even though it didn't feel like Bernard was lying, we investigated so quickly that... Is there still anything unresolved or strange that we should try to consider? Bernard claims to have received... There's no need to rush. Well, we've discovered that Bernard is responsible for the trafficking, while Pierre deals with supplying the goods. Is there something else in this scheme that we're missing? There's no need to rush. The Marechaussee Phantom found... There's no need to rush. Perhaps we are now closing in on the truth. Perhaps we are now closing in on the...
Now behave and follow.
That hurt.
One.
Is everything... I still feel like... Also, I've had this strange sense that... No good. I've still got nothing, and I'm nearly out of energy. Alright. Let's go to the Humane Society before my energy for today...
Reduced to just standing around. How absurd.
And that for now.